2. Welcome to this special episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey everyone, we have with us today Jason T. Smith. Jason, how you doing
Mm.
today?
What's happening, everybody? I am doing wonderful. What's going on, guys?
Nice.
Wow, the excitement, the energy, man. That's awesome.
It'll be the dream.
Never
And
mind,
I love the beard as well. Look at it, man. It's looking awesome. Look at it.
Yep, exactly. So if you don't know Jason, he is the America's #1 thrifter and spends his time touring the country teaching others how to thrift and flip online. Jason was the star of Spike TV's Thrift Hunters and now hosts 2 YouTube shows, Thrifty Business and Selling Past Your Expiration Date, Being Thrifty Over 50.
Oh my God, that's a tongue twister. Is that actually the name, is it? I mean, can you actually tell people that? Is that .com at the end as well, is it?
So we had a contest. So I host a show with my mom, who is 76. Her and my dad sell on eBay. And I hosted a show, and I had a contest for the name. And we really liked Selling Past Your Expiration Date, and we really liked Being Thrifty Over 50. So I just jammed them together.
Oh my
And
God.
they would give me grief. It's too long. And I'm like, we shorted to Selling Past Your Expiration Date. But when you say the whole thing, you know.
Yes.
It just flows, man. It just kind of flows, right? That's
Yeah.
cool.
And let me add something to that. So this will be kind of an exclusive for you guys.
Ooh.
We love exclusives.
I did star in my own TV show, Spike TV's Thrift Hunters, but now I'm the guest star on an established show as they invited me to be part of it. So I'm the new recurring guy on Pawn Stars.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
We're talking to a celebrity.
I think all this happened after you were a guest on our show the
Yes.
last time, right?
Definitely.
I think that's what propelled me.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, so, hey, thank you very much for joining us today, Jason. We are actually going to be talking on the topic of thrifting. And what better person to bring on the show for thrifting, to talk about it is you. So thank you very much for joining us. I know that you did that, Thrift Hunters, and you've been thrifting all your life. I know your story goes back to when you were just a child, right? In garage sales with your grandma and your mom, right?
Yep. Just when I was a wee little one.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about thrifting, because our listeners for this are going to be beginners on eBay and, experienced people as well. So, a lot of people don't know exactly where to source. I mean, a lot of people are, geared up and ready to go with their eBay business, but they don't really know how to source. So educate us on thrifting and where to go and how to do it.
So for the true beginners, I would start no further than your home.
Okay.
My wife just decided that it was time to clean out her T-shirts.
Yes.
And man, she pulled out hundreds. And some are not worth more than just donating to a thrift store and getting a tax write-off. But some were good, had some good graphics or a good brand. And I can easily sell those on eBay. So I'm like, don't donate those, I'll sell them. So everyone's got that extra junk laying around. You haven't used that coffee maker since you got it for a Christmas present in 1992. Someone still wants that coffee maker. So look around your house, find the things that are collecting dust, and start there, because there's no added expense to starting with the stuff that you already own.
Right.
Now, once you get your feet wet and you get rolling, the next thing I recommend is going to the thrift store. And that could be, your big box, what I call the big box ones, Goodwills, Salvation Armies, Savers, or your small mom and pops work too. The big ones just have a lot more stuff in it. But the best place to start is in your own size of clothes. So find things that you think, it's got to have something on it, something appealing that you can write down on a title. You can't just buy a gray T-shirt and flip it. Yeah. But again, if the worst thing that happens is it doesn't sell because you bought it in your size, you just got some extra clothes.
Yeah, nice. That's smart thinking.
In that case, it's no harm, no foul,
Right.
But then, and I got some live world example here. Once you kind of get it going and you kind of conquer something, then you start branching out, because I do purses and bras and dresses and beyond what the other stuff I do. So you got to start someplace. But once you get that comfortableness going on, then it's move on to everything else in the thrift store, because it's packed with stuff in every single section.
So you're walking in there. I mean, I just cannot understand how you would know what to do. So I'm visualizing these places are massive. You're walking in there with lots of people, lots of clothes. I mean, how do you even navigate that madness?
So everyone knows something. So like, Although you won't know right this second, I have a huge Hawaiian shirt collection. So when I just started doing clothes for the first time, which was years ago, I would go just to the men's button-down short sleeve shirts and only look for Hawaiian shirts because I knew exactly what was good, what other Hawaiian shirt wearers would look for, and I also knew the ones that sucked. So I started there because I wore them, I collected them, I knew them, and then Savers is my favorite thrift chain, and they also break it down. Most thrift stores, I'm a big dude. Most thrift stores go XL and up. So if you're 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, if you're in the extra large section, so you're digging through all the rest, Savers is nice. They break it down to XL and then 2XL and bigger. So I started going just to all the 2XL sections. All right, I know t-shirts pretty well. Let me find some t-shirts. Okay, I don't ever wear long sleeves too much, but I know some brands now that are decent, so I'll go to the long sleeve section. But again, I was only in the beginning just doing it in my size because I could just wear an extra shirt. Then once I got comfortable doing that, then I started moving down. Extra large, large, medium, small. Now, smalls, they're a little tougher sell because we're a bigger race of people nowadays.
Yeah.
But I quit looking at smalls for a long time, and my wife is a small, so I started looking again. And I've been flipping some smalls, but I'm way more picky when I'm in the small section. There's a lot more extra large people in the world than smalls.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're in the smalls, it really has to hit home. I mean, it really has to, be something appealing about that shirt that's going to sell for sure.
Yeah. I just sold a SpaceX t-shirt, Elon Musk's rocket that takes all the payloads up to the space station. People
nice.
Space. And so even in a small, I picked it up for $1.99. I sold it for $25.
Unbelievable.
That's what
you
you
know
do.
That's really cool about that, because really what we're talking about here is things that, like t-shirts. Who just starting out would think that a t-shirt would sell? You can get them for a couple bucks. Who think they would sell for $25, right? So I would imagine if you're a beginner, you might just walk straight past the t-shirts, and you might just walk past a paycheck, really, in a way, right?
Yeah, and they're a good thing. They're a good thing about doing t-shirts too. It's like threefold. Like I said, starting your size. So worst comes to worst, you got an extra t-shirt. They're easy to take a picture of because t-shirts only have two things, front and back.
Right.
Now, there'll be an occasional shirt that maybe has something on the sleeve, but majority of t-shirts, maybe not even front back, just front, but you still got to take a picture of the back. And then when you ship it, you just throw it in a poly mailer and off it goes. So, there is no packing peanuts. There's no bubble wrap. There's no concerns of breakage. So it's a great product to start with.
Right.
And you just look for things that are unique, are fun, are vintage. Again, it's all about rich keywords. What can you say? When I teach a class and we're in the thrift store, we always start in the men's t-shirt section because there's always a men's t-shirt section. And I say, okay, all of you take a little section and pull out the best ones and bring them to me, but have a reason why you think you could sell this. And I always give this big pre-speech. Like, don't just bring me stuff randomly. There's always going to be that one student who brings like 20 things. I go, all right, why'd you bring these? I don't know.
Right.
All right, well, you got to start some formulating. Think about, even if you're brand new, how is someone going to find this shirt? Is someone going to care about this shirt? And you got to start putting that into thought. And one other thing I teach, you say you live in Chicago, you're going to find tons of Blackhawk stuff, tons of Bear stuff, tons of Bull stuff. But don't forget, there's a Bulls fan in the northern corner of Idaho who doesn't see Bulls t-shirts in his thrift store. And so you got to look through all the Bulls t-shirts and find the coolest ones. And those will sell. Right. The common ones isn't worth your time. Usually recently dated ones aren't worth your time. Old dated ones are. But you got to remember, we're one global economy now. So there's going to be a Bulls fan in Denmark who wants a cool t-shirt. So don't get so jaded because you live there. You're like, oh, too much Bull stuff. Here's where I messed up. I always teach people, don't thrift emotionally. And what I mean is, don't just buy stuff that you like.
Right.
Buy stuff that customers will like. And when I taught my mom and dad this, I did with my dad, what I do with all my students. Let's go through the men's t-shirt section. And I follow behind and I start pulling out shirts. I go, why didn't you grab this? Why didn't you grab that? He goes, I don't like those shirts. Okay, Dad, here's the answer. It don't matter what you like. It's a matter what customers with money like. So I say, don't shop emotionally and don't sell emotionally. If you get an offer on an eBay item for less than half, don't get all upset and want to block them or cry. Or the customer has started a conversation with you that has money. Have that conversation. So don't do it emotionally. Here's where I failed. When LeBron, I'm from Cleveland, so when LeBron left the Cavs the first time and went to Miami, every single thrift store in Cleveland had a LeBron section. So they would separate it out. So T-shirts and jerseys, and they were selling like good jerseys, $5. No one wanted them.
Oh my goodness!
The second he re-signed with Cleveland, those jerseys shot up to $100, $150. You could have been sitting on a gold mine if I had some forethought. Like, I bet you LeBron comes back, and I could have been buying all those $5 and putting them away. And the second it happened, I'm like, man, I remember being home and being like, screw LeBron, I ain't buying none of his stuff.
Yeah,
that would be breaking my own rules. Don't thrift emotionally.
Yeah, no kidding, man. So that's pretty incredible, because really, it's all about, it starts with mindset, right? And you got to clear your mind when you go into the thrift store. Like you said, how do you know, like, this T-shirt, even though I don't like it, how do you know it's going to sell? Do you do research in the store while you're looking?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, so I can pretty much annihilate a T-shirt section without much thought. But when I run across that one thing that I'm like, what is this? So I do one of two things. I look, if it's something easily looked up, I look it up on eBay and check the solds, or I Google it. Then there's those times where it's written in some other language, and I'm like, is this good or not? So here's, I'm going to throw in a little plug for my free Facebook group, the Thrifting Board. I take a picture, and there's 53,000 members, and I go, what's this shirt say?
Oh my goodness.
And is it worthy? I make sure to throw it in my cart, because when you leave it on the rack and someone goes, oh, that's a great shirt, $50, you turn around, someone else is already going to have it. So put it in your cart, keep on shopping. And like in 10 minutes, I check my post, and because it just happened, it was a Russian airline. And I'm like, oh, okay. So once I knew what I could type in English, I looked it up on eBay, and there was like 20 of them. So there was no need to get it.
Yep.
But to me, it looked exotic and different because it was written in a different language. But once I knew what to look up, it wasn't worth my time. So.
No, that's good stuff.
I can't believe it, So this is just knowledge over years of doing this. You're just looking at this. So how do you know? You mentioned the eBay thing, but you're talking to some people who just don't know anything about this, and it's like, how do I know if this has actually got value or not? It's to me, it's just a T-shirt with some squiggly little German writing on it.
Well, and that's when you have your eBay app, you type in. So once they told me what the Russian airline was called, I typed in that airline name T-shirt, and I looked, and there was like 30 actives, and I went to the solds, and there was a bunch of solds, but they were solds for like $9-10. So isn't worth the time to buy a T-shirt for $2 or $3 to sell it for 10. It's just not worth your time. It is worth your time if you're new to it. So if you can knock out a $5 profit and you're brand new, that's not bad. Don't shoot for the fences on your first outing. But once you get established, and I have many live examples, if you don't mind, some little show and tell. So I started
Bring them out.
CDs and CDs only. So, for instance, I just picked up this Generation X 3 CD box set, and I paid $19 at a record store, but I'm going to sell it for $60 because that's what it's worth. But I only sold CDs for years. Like, I started in March of 2000, and I've been laid off from a job. See, this is great for the people who are listening that's just starting. I got laid off from a job, and I was just sitting on the couch sucking my thumb for 2 weeks, like, how are we going to pay the mortgage? Because I don't really have any other skills except for the job I had. So I was standing in a record store, and they had a table of dollar CDs, and I'm like, these CDs had to be worth more than $1. And don't forget, this is March of 2000. There wasn't downloads. There wasn't streaming. None of that stuff. There wasn't sharing. So I cherry-picked what I thought were the best 20 CDs. I went home. And I taught myself that night how to sell online. Just started reading and figured it out.
Wow.
And I went from selling, 2-3 CDs here to 350 to 500 CDs a month quickly.
Wow.
To the point I was annoying the post office 3 days a week. And so they're like, we can't keep doing this. You're bringing us too many packages. I'm like,
yeah.
Bringing you too many packages. It's a post office.
Because the line was always way long behind me waiting. And they're like, you can stamp them yourself. And so this is back, you weren't printing labels at home.
Right.
Anyone starting now, you got it easy. Labels get printed out. So he goes, you can just stick your own stamps on. I said, oh, okay, just tell me what goes on it. So I learned, I just stuck my own stamps on, and I could just drop them off. And back then, it wasn't even self-adhesive yet. It was still lick 'em and stick 'em, too.
Yeah.
Quickly changing. But CDs are great because, although this is a fatty double, normal CDs, they're all the same shape and weight. So there's no thought process. You know, if you can conquer one product really well, there'll be no extra thought process. How to ship it, how to package it. All CDs that are single CDs are the exact same shape. They all weigh 4 ounces when packaged. They just go into a padded envelope. Easy peasy. So I did that forever. And I expanded into other media. I do a lot of records. I look for a lot of cool records. This is actually a Betty Page picture disc.
Nice.
Just picked this up at a record store. So for those who've never seen a picture disc, this is the actual record with Betty on this side.
Nice.
And Betty on that side. And it's not even, you know, she wasn't an artist, but it's like sexy stripping music kind of music. And it comes with a little Betty Page booklet of all pictures of her in various forms of dress and undress. But these are kind of things that collectors look for. And so I started doing records too. And this was back again in the early 2000s. People were getting rid of record collections and cassette collections and 8-tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Look.
8-tracks still sell?
But here's the thing. The reason I'm sharing all this is because it's all come full circle. So there are still crazy money in CDs, ones that never made it to like online streaming services, out of print, rare versions. But 8-tracks are back. A member of the thrifting board sold a Duran Duran 8-track. I didn't even know Duran Duran started.
Yeah, that was
$100 like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my
that was way after. Wow. Okay, that's
So
awesome.
I was shocked. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then I got cassettes turned around about a year ago. Well, if you saw the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the main points of that movie is the lead guy has an old Sony Walkman with a mixtape his mommy made him.
Okay.
So 4 years ago when it came out, or 4 or 5 years ago, once a year they have a thing called Record Store Day, and independent record stores across the United States, they have limited edition vinyl that they release just for that day. You go in there, you buy a bunch of stuff, keep a couple cool things, and then you flip the rest online because people can't get it in other countries. And if you don't have a record store near you, can't get it. So when that movie came out, they released the cassette of the mixtape, and they made it to look like it was all handwritten, like his mom wrote it. It was $8 or $9 because the first time they did a cassette, I bought 4. I think I flipped them for $60 or $70 each.
Nice.
And the next year, Metallica put up a cassette. And the next year, Paul McCartney and Elvis Costello did a cassette together. And Eminem did a cassette this year. So cassettes have come back full force. And so tying it back into thrifting, I'm at a garage sale this past summer back home in Cleveland with my mom. And this guy had this huge tub of cassettes. And I was about to cherry pick. And then I noticed this on top. This is Snoop Dogg's first full release, Doggy Style. And I said, hey, how much for the whole tub? And he said, $10. I said, take 8. He said, sure. This cassette is worth $50 right here. And the tub was $30 just for this cassette. And the whole tub.
And you still haggled him. You still haggled him down.
Had probably 200 cassettes in it. So this will put me in one item, will put me into profit. Now, since I bought that, I learned something myself I didn't know. When this album first came out, there's a song on it that for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, they removed it. So if you have the original versions, people pay more because it's got the original song on it. And this has the original song. So that's why this is getting 35 on cassette.
My God, it's insane.
And media ships cheaper too, doesn't it?
Well, it can, but these are so light, first class is fine.
Okay.
So we get into media when we start doing bigger records, when we start doing groups of records, definitely. So you can send like 4 records media mail for like $3.80. Cheap. Cheap. Now, the best part of that little bonus fun fact, the best part of that cassette collection in the bottom was a signed check from 1993 with no writing but the signature.
Oh my word.
So this has been in that box of tape since 93.
Unreal.
Myself $1 million check.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Gee, you must have so much fun.
All back. Every media is back. They all sell.
And that's really cool because most people, I know we talked about it at Ecom Chicago, but most people wouldn't even know about that, right? I mean, who would have thought? I would have thought 8-tracks for sure. I would have thought were dinosaurs. Cassettes, I would have kind of questioned you on it, but man, you were talking to me about it, and it's just amazing how the comeback is real.
Now, would go to thrift stores. Like I buy a lot of my product at actual record stores because they only know what they're doing to a certain point, and I know better than every record store. And my pedigree is I worked in record stores. I worked for a big chain that spanned Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I worked for one of the larger independent record stores in the country in Long Beach, and then I finished my record career at Tower Records in Hollywood. So I have that as my base, and I've been a music nerd my whole life. And so I would go into thrift stores and garage sales and conquer the music. And then I got into collecting everything tiki. And so I would now go into thrift stores and look for two things, media and tiki. And then one day I'm standing in this giant thrift store. I'm like, there's a lot more in here than tiki mugs and CDs. Right. So I started, like I said, doing my own clothing size. And then I was hanging out with a friend one day and she goes, "Hey Jay, big bras sell?" I go, "No, I didn't." So now I go hunt down big bras.
I love it.
What I mean, it's funny. I teach big bras and people go, "Hey Jay, I bought this 44D." I go, "That is not big. That's like this is a 40G."
Damn.
Oh my goodness!
And I've sold up to ends. So most people have never even seen an end before. So, and the key to that is you can't walk into a normal store and buy an end bra. It's a specialty order. And when you specially order bras that size, they are not cheap. So someone can't afford 150 brand new for a bra, but they can afford 40 for a lightly used one.
Right. Yeah.
So is there anything that you wouldn't sell, like where you're at now? Is there you'd walk into anywhere and if you saw value on it, you would still try to flip it for a profit?
Yeah, if I saw value, I don't have any children. I've never had any children, so I'm pretty good at toys and plush. But kids' clothes, I don't know. And there's tons of it, obviously, and there is some good stuff. When I go thrifting with friends who are mothers, they conquer the kids section, and I'm like,
damn.
I don't know. Because,
right.
Because
you don't know.
Kid, it's in your face all day, every day. So it's
right.
one of those things where I could learn, but you know what else is in the kids section? Kids.
Yeah. Don't want to be there.
But I do a lot of plush, and I always tell people, look for the weirdest thing in the plush aisle. So I just thrifted this two-headed turtle, and the cool thing is I've sold this twice before. So this one's real easy to list and sell because I know it sells, and I've sold it before. So always look for the weird thing. Hello.
So let me put you on the spot for just a minute here, Jason.
Yeah.
For the very beginner, you've got that very unique two-headed turtle, and I don't know, is there any other one that you can look in the sold section to get the listing and and kind of get some tips? How would you list that? How would you research that? How would you know how much that is?
Well, the brand is called the Petting Zoo. So let me look it up while we're chatting here on eBay. So this is called the plush. Most people call it stuffed animal, but look up the Petting Zoo plush turtle. Oops. Spelling helps. There's two T's in turtle.
Spelling definitely helps.
And then you scroll down. Now, if you're on your computer, it'll be on the left. If you're on your phone, there'll be a refine button you click, and you go to the solds. And no one has the two-headed one up right now. Now, from my past experience, I knew I got like $30 for it. Now, the fact that no one has a two-headed one up right now excites me because that's like the rare unicorn kind of thing. But I see other ones go just regular turtles selling for 16. That one sold for 35. That one sold for 18, 11, 15. So if a regular turtle's getting $15 and I got the rare two-headed one, I'm going to put it up for $30. And again, the nice thing about plush, especially quality plush that doesn't have electronics in it, you can, if it's dirty, throw it in the washing machine with your load of laundry and just hang it to dry, and it'll look brand new. And B, there ain't nothing to break, so stick it in a poly mailer. You don't need a box, you don't need peanuts, you don't need bubble wrap or anything else. And off it goes.
Yay! He's off to his new home.
Yeah,
that is incredible. So to the new seller, would you do this on auction or bid? I mean, auction or best buy or buy it now?
Buy it now for sure. Auctions only work when you have at least two people who want to fight you for it. Or not you, but each other for it.
Sure.
So, speaking of, we have a member of the Thrifting Board found a very rare Tupac promo cassette that only has two versions of one song on it, two very rare mixes on cassette. He knew it was rare, so he put it up for, I think, $99 opening bid. Or no, $50. And a guy offered him $100 to end it early. and he came and asked the group, should I end it early? And we're like, anytime you have a product that people beg you to end it early,
Right.
now, this was a good product to put up at auction because it's rare and it's impossible to find these mixes. So then the guy came back, I'll give you 200 to stop it. And we were like, okay, you definitely ain't stopping it. By the end of day one of a 7-day auction, it was up to $560.
Damn.
Wow. Cassette he picked up in a collection of cassettes. He probably spent a dime or a quarter on that cassette.
Well, it's kind of funny. After our conversation at Ecom Chicago, man, you and I, we had a talk, and, I told you about that Pink Floyd, The Wall that I had. It was still sealed.
Yep.
This was in a box at home, man. I had no idea it was worth anything, honestly. So, I put it on for 150. It wasn't touched. I mean, a guy came back and said, would you want 125? And I just kind of, no. Anyhow, I sold it for about $125. And I just never, ever would have believed that album would have sold for $125.
Nice.
It's just incredible. You do some research on items, like you said. I've got probably 25 albums that I need to go through because, they might be worth something.
Oh, heck yeah. I just did a webinar on CDs and, within my circles, people know I'm the master. So they had no problem, taking the webinar, applying it, making money. But I also advertised it to anybody who might be interested. And I got a lot of naysayers who are like, ain't no one buying CDs.
Right.
And I'm like, all you got to do is type in CD, go to eBay solds, and then sort it by the highest, and you will see the crazy money that some single CDs will get. Like here, I don't know what the hell this is. Thunderdome Australian Down Under Tour, recorded live. 62 bids, $3,350
Oh my
CD.
Jeez.
I would be nervous to own that thing to sell, man.
And then there's some classical thing that sold at 29 bids for $2,646. So I would show the naysayers these, and they're like, "You're photoshopping that." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I got time to do." I mean, anybody can go look at solds. Anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
But I know those things to look for, and that's what I teach too, because there's a lot of crazy money. I know. Look. I know it's 2019. You can stream, YouTube, download, steal, anything, but a lot of it still is collectors. I collect tiki mugs. There are 1,000 of these things around my house on display, and so I could look at a picture of them, but I'd much rather have the item sitting in my house. Same with CDs.
So you brought up a good point there, So how do you store this stuff? I mean, I imagine your house is just like your bed's in between boxes and stuff like that. So how does someone who goes out thrifting and gets obsessed as you do, how do they store this stuff and know where it is when it's sold?
All right, so in the office, it is organized by type. So over here, we have all the CD shelves for both eBay and Amazon. Behind me is T-shirts and games and tchotchkes. Over there is all the coffee mugs, tiki mugs and such. And then in the hallway, and they're all labeled in tubs. I have a little landing to the top of our staircase. So here is Levi's jeans. Here are other jeans. Here are the tub of dresses. Here are the tub of women's pajamas. So when I sell women's pajamas, me or my assistant just walks over to the women's pajama tub. So you're not looking everywhere, you're just looking in one tub. And then the way I kind of work is, right now my hat tub is half full. Okay, it's time to start listing some hats. And here's a little tip I learned that it seems like, you should figure that out. But these are the kind of hats that people are looking for. Weird businesses, old trucker hats. But I would have never bought this because it's broke. But a friend of mine showed me how to get these out. So you go buy another hat with the same color for a quarter and just dismantle that. And then you put it back in, little glue, hat's good as new. So whereas this hat's going to be probably worth $35, $40, I find a hat that ain't worth my time, maybe $1 or under, but I just need this part.
Wow.
You pick it out. So that's the kind of little tips and tricks. When you hang out in circles online, you learn all these things. Like I know a lot of stuff, but I learn stuff every single day too. You never stop learning.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And I know you're the kind of guy that learns from the people you teach also, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love when I teach a class and I'm teaching something and then someone pulls out something. They're like, "Hey, this is worth a ton, and here's why." And I'm like, "Geez, I never even knew what that was." But I love it because it's also about just collectively sharing knowledge, and that's one of the best parts of social media is if you're in the right circles that like to teach and don't like to complain. you can learn a lot, and that's what I love seeing. I love seeing people. That's why I like teaching classes, because when I teach the classes, I can watch the light bulbs go off right in front of me. Especially because I do a 2-day class I do in the thrift store than in the classroom. And the classroom, of course, it's easier because they're all sitting in front of me staring at me. And so as I'm teaching the different sections, they're like, oh, I see that happen all the time. And even to people who've been doing it a long time, there's always something that really like, oh, I never did it that way.
The aha moment, right?
And then, okay, the final question, because we run out of time, is what do you do with the stuff that doesn't sell?
That's a good question, because I'm actually working on some of that right now. So, for instance, I list all my CDs on Amazon. If they don't sell after 2 years, I move them to eBay, and I try some other sites. If those aren't working out, then I put them in a bag. And next time I'm in LA at the big record store, I trade them in. They'll still give me some money, and then they give you more in trade. So I'll apply that towards more stuff to flip. I have garage sales once a year to clean out all the duds, but I'm an expert at throwing a garage sale of crap and making it look good. So people show up in droves to take my junk away. And there's also places to sell your clothes. So when my wife was cleaning out her T-shirts, I had her put them into 3 piles: donate, eBay, and then there's secondhand clothing stores like Plato's Closet and Buffalo Exchange that will give you money towards clothes so they can sell it. And again, they'll give you more in trade. And I always find good stuff in those stores. So I'm going to take, 100 unused T-shirts that even if they give me $1 a piece, that's $100 bill that I'm going to then apply towards something I know I can flip. Like I just was in a Buffalo Exchange and got this kick-ass cupcake dress.
What the? I thought you didn't do kids. Is that a woman?
No, this is an adult dress.
Oh my God, who would wear that?
I designed that doesn't do clothes anymore. This was 125 new. And that day at Buffalo Exchange, I only bought dresses. That was the only thing good there. And the lady ringing me out goes, "You bought some good dresses." I go, "No, it's
Yeah.
But there's ways to get rid of your stuff. And if worst comes to worst, you redonate it and you get a tax write-off.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
Oh, so much fun here, Jason. Love chatting to you always because you're so bubbly and you got all this weird stuff around you and it's awesome. And you make it look fun, but I don't know how it couldn't be. You're buying something for a nickel or something and you're getting $50 for it. How could that not be fun? So we've run out of time. Seriously, thanks for joining us, though. I know a lot of people would have got some great stuff out of this. Ron, you wanna say anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, thank you very much for joining us on the summit here, man. We really appreciate you, Jason, as always. We knew it would be good. There's a lot of good information here for anybody that's, starting out or the experienced seller. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you all later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.